Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel here, and this might be another YouTuber thing, but I'm going to say this video is a little tough to make given the circumstances here. Well, I understand the circumstances, what's been going on here in the world lately, but as the Calgary sports fan, and speaking of that, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, you know what you need to do is make sure you hit like, subscribe, and follow along. I also have my other social media links in the description below there, but getting back to the task at hand here, and basically all major sports they press the pause button on all major sports here, including, the NHL. The NBA definitely is what started with, because unfortunately there was that game between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Utah Jazz there that apparently one player on the Utah Jazz tested positive for, the illness that's going around here that everyone's been, I'm going to say, in some way still overreacting to. I mean, unfortunately, there's people that unfortunately have passed away, and I can understand the reaction here, but you could say it's better safe than sorry here. I mean, the fact I'm making this video here, given the circumstances, I'd rather be getting ready to go to the Rough House right now to watch the Calgary Roughnecks take on the Saskatchewan Rough there, and after when the NBA decided to press pause on the current NBA season there, and according to Commissioner Adam Silver, he's anticipating that they'll put it on pause for 30 days. Obviously take precautions and look around world health officials before medical staff comes clear there, but I can understand the decision that the other major sports follow suit, with the NHL, and then now the NLL. And of course now with the Canadian Hockey League, the CHL, which affects the Western Hockey League and the Calgary Hitmen there. It's definitely, it's a little depressing and subdued right now with all the news, and sports is definitely one of the things that we do to escape it, but, with being bans put it in for massive gatherings, and Alberta Health Services have done that as well. I mean, I can understand the decision there, and hopefully, within 30 days, we can get back at it. And, for example, I guess the other major league sports that I also should throw in there is that the MLS, Major League Soccer, and as well as Major League Baseball, as they canceled all spring training games. Because right now, here we are about the middle of March here, spring training going on with the Grapefruit League in Florida and the Cactus League in Arizona there. Major League Baseball is canceling all spring training games, and they still anticipate playing a full 162 game season and have the World Series here, but it's definitely tough that, with all the depressing things that's going on right now and people overreacting. And personally myself, I actually needed a couple supplies there, but I was incredible to see empty shelves with no toilet paper there, but I can understand the decision here, and just clear it's postpone, press pause. Nothing has been canceled yet, because that's definitely the nuclear option, especially with the NBA and the NHL closely timed together, with the playoffs both kind of overlapping here. And I could definitely understand the NHL's decision there, especially with that one NBA player officially testing positive for, let's just say, the sickness that's going around here. I'm trying to not say the actual word here on the YouTube algorithm, but and then apparently a couple days before that game that was the catalyst to postpone the NBA season, which then followed suit with the other major leagues there, that apparently the Toronto Raptors were playing against the Utah Jazz a couple games earlier there. And it's definitely taking precautions here, but I'm definitely still more concerned about the economic effects here. definitely same my line of work here, and also the fact that self-isolation here. If I need to do that, I mean, at least I can be able to work remotely there. But it's definitely tough to not get my sports fix right now. But I do think that we are overreacting a little. I mean, I'm not trying to not show sympathy for those who are affected by it, but then you hear many stories and you see the much older demographics, like beyond 60 plus, that have been affected harder by it. You hear other people, maybe my age or a little older, a little younger, said it was just, the sniffles and the cough. And I mean, also the fact that even though I don't support our Prime Minister right now, I have thoughts to his wife there, but I mean, it is, I can understand the decision, because it would seem kind of weird that if the NHL were to continue on, and there is some restrictions, and now there's a restriction to cats, to ban mass gatherings here in Alberta here, but it would just would have been weird, because the two teams that said they would consider to play for the rest of the home games in March here in the NHL was the San Jose Sharks and the Columbus Blue Jackets there, and then going with the NBA here, the Golden State Warriors, who are also close to the San Francisco area where the San Jose Sharks play. It would have been definitely kind of lame to play a game in front of no fans, and of course I hear that I think I see from sources there that if you were to buy a single ticket from Ticketmaster there, I think you could get a refund within 7 to 10 days. I mean, for me myself, being a Roughnecks season ticket holder, there won't be any refunds back until games officially get canceled. And to put it clear here, it's postponed. And I think the likely scenario that's going to happen is that, let's just follow the NBA lead, that I think within 30 days, because even then I've seen some tidbits online that the NHL may resume, just team practices and facilities as soon as next week. Because it's definitely the nuclear option, because it's definitely a lot of money will definitely be lost out on games down the stretch here. And being a Flames fan here, we were starting to get rolling here, and also the fact that we're in the playoff race here, and the standings look like that Calgary Edmonton first round. Oh, please make it happen. I was getting excited for that, and just the playoff races in general. And I also do casually follow the NBA, and it was definitely amazing what the Toronto Raptors did, and how it just this whole country in Canada was behind the team. And it was surreal to see the Toronto Raptors holding that Larry O'Brien trophy. And who knows, could this be finally the year, if we still continue on, that Canadian team would hoist the Stanley Cup here. Maybe their dream, it's these guys, I can dream. But I mean, it's definitely, it's tough right now, but I think the likely scenario is that things will get compressed, and we'll still have a season, we'll still have a playoffs, and Stanley will be hoisted. That's one of the most beautiful things in sports. I mean, as I always keep saying, I think the Stanley Cup is the most impressive championship trophy in sports. And unfortunately, it's only happened twice in over the 125-year history of the Stanley Cup that it did not get hoisted with a championship. The first time was in 1919 with the Spanish flu there, where they could not complete the Stanley Cup Finals there because, there was a similar situation that's, you could say, could be happening now, but I don't think to the extent of the Spanish flu in 1919. And then in 2005, Stanley was not hoisted because of players and owners doing this. I don't want a Cellar Cup. You need a Cellar Cup. And I made that video saying that was necessary for the NHL to get where it is now. And the fact that the NHL recently announced that the salary cap was going to go up to maybe like $86 million, and that's definitely going to be a lot of lost revenue, especially when there's about a dozen games left for both the NBA and the NHL there, plus the premium revenue for playoffs there. But I hear that both leagues, because I read that actually it's 11 arenas or stadiums, depending on how you want to call it, both the NHL and the NBA share. And you can also tie in, the NLL for lacrosse, as well as CHL teams, Western Hockey League, Ontario Hockey League, or the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. There are some arenas that get shared there. I mean, definitely you can understand that decision there. But, it's definitely tough here, but I can understand the decision there. But hopefully, in a couple of weeks, players will be allowed to practice, have meetings, and get back out of there and give fans clarity on if our tickets will still be in use. I mean, if we can push it off to keep everyone safe and healthy to the best of our abilities, I'm okay with that, because it definitely wouldn't be the same if games happened without fans. And the other sports that have been affected here, well, with this being the middle of March here and down the States there, they're definitely obsessed with March Madness and college basketball there. Unfortunately, I understand it's now canceled, and they were going to play without fans there, and it's definitely a bummer for the college students. And then close to home here at the Alberta Colleges Athletic Conference, ACAC, as I went to SAIT myself and followed the SAIT Trojans, and definitely worked at a couple nationals and been to some nationals. I mean, it's definitely sucks for those students that worked so hard all season and build up to go win their conference to play in the nationals, and definitely sucks for them. And you also got to wonder about the Memorial Cup, because Kelowna was going to host the Memorial Cup this year, and will that happen? But I still think there will still be an NBA champion crown and an NHL champion crown. I would be willing to wait till possibly the end of June or even July there. How about this for a hypothetical? Let's say the Flames get into the playoffs and make a nice long run there. And let's dream that we do win the Stanley Cup, and it happens, just in time for Stampede. Just think about that. I mean, of course, if that happened, then the draft and the free agency will be pushed back here. I mean, you can look at it two ways. Is that, players train hard and suddenly aren't training now, and I'm sure they're still exercising internally there and trying to take care of themselves. But, maybe some teams will get healthier. But that could skew the competition a bit here. But, this is definitely unprecedented. And, the other things that affect it is right now we're still 3 months away from CFL season kicking off here, and I know the CFL also announced that combines and open tryouts, because there is some U.S. cities that host tryouts for CFL teams, and maybe you can get some jock sports from the street there that might impress some scouts and say, wow, Jock, he is definitely, he'll make a great wide receiver. Invite him to camp, and well, unfortunately, all that's going to be canceled there. And as we know, for the CFL, the Canadian College Draft still happens, beginning of May there, and then training camps, as we know, that's still going to happen as scheduled here. But there's definitely some uncertainty here, and it's definitely tough to take, especially with all these other events being canceled here that, However, I will still be making videos, because there's still going to be some Calgary sports content that I'm going to make. I also do personal vlogs and attempt to comedy here, and I definitely have made a list of over 50 different topics here, so it's not like, I'm not going to be making videos when this whole situation is on right now. Because I did promise that I was going to do a couple more trade retrospects later this month, along the time when the trade deadline was then. I already made my video on the time when we traded Brett Holloway, and I was defending the Calgary Flames' decision on trading him, and you could say that trade was lopsided in retrospect, but we won the Stanley Cup. with a couple pieces we got there, so that's why I made that video. A couple videos that I will tease for trade retrospects here is I'm going to look back on a trade when we traded away an enforcer and a couple draft picks. And then I'm also going to look at another trade that this team that we traded the enforcer to brought them pieces eventually that helped them win a Stanley Cup here, but not to throw too much away here. That definitely bite us in the end here. I'll give you a hint on there. And then I was going to talk about the time when we traded Jarome Iginla away. Except there'll be two videos about Jarome Iginla, not because he's the greatest Flame of all time here, but I'm going to talk about a trade retrospect where we actually traded him to the Pittsburgh Penguins there. But I'm also going to talk about the supposedly reported trade that didn't happen, that was in place with the Boston Bruins. And then I can go over some hypotheticals on the Boston Bruins and how much they benefited from not making that trade, but eventually getting Jarome Iginla in free agency there. And then I already mentioned Jay Bouwmeester there. But I think I'll probably still do one more Calgary Flames game recap. I guess I'll be doing my 4-game episode a lot earlier because I put that at the end of the season here. But the Flames have played enough games that I can maybe do one more game recap, and then we'll see how things go from there. Roughnecks, well, they've already played one game this month, so I'm probably might still do my Calgary Roughnecks this month here. And then, I've gotten some ideas from some comments here that depending on how long this goes on for, those would be stuff that I would want to do in the summer. But I might, throw those in as well. But I also want to backlog some personal logs and attempt a comedy here, but there's still definitely going to be plenty of sports content that I'll make, despite there be no major stories. I mean, this is the major story about all Major League sports as being paused here, and you definitely hear other tournaments being postponed or canceled, like the Masters. There was the TPS Sawgrass. I think that was canceled in the PGA. And then they canceled, I think, the IHF World Championships overseas there, especially where there's now travel restrictions put in place on traveling to Europe. And then, those IH World Championships, how I look at those tournaments there is that you kind of get what's available at that time. That's one to go from the NHL to the World Hockey Championships there, because you either got players that either crushed because they just missed the playoffs after investing all their time with the team there, and they could be banged up. Some players, kudos to them if they answer the call and want to go over there or just continue their playing, or maybe a younger player wants to go there if they're invited to enhance their skills there. Excuse me, but this is definitely my thoughts and feelings and opinions on the situation with Major League Sports being postponed. Some people are already saying it's canceled. It's not canceled yet. Yet being the key word here, but if there's a postponement for a few weeks, it still can be practical to cram in the last dozen games for the NBA, NHL there. And the WHL is wrapping up there. If they're still going to have a Memorial Cup, maybe compress there might be some word about maybe compressing the playoffs, or maybe other thing that definitely isn't as favorable now, but it would definitely cut down travel, is the 2-3-2 system, where maybe you get, the higher seed gets host games 1 and 2, and then the lower seed gets the host 3, 4, 5, and then the higher seed gets 6 and 7 there. That could be a possibility, but I'm just thinking of years when we had a lockout, that there were regular season games played up until the end of April, early May there, and then they were able to compress the playoffs and then have the Stanley Cup awarded the 3rd to 4th week of June there. I know the last time when we had the lockout shortened season in 2012-13 there, Stanley Cup was awarded around June 20th around there. And then the draft was a couple days later, but I remember free agent frenzy was not until July 5th instead of July 1st here. But I would be understanding because being a sports fan, and it'd definitely really be devastating if different circumstances, but it was definitely devastating 15 years ago. But we saw the writing on the wall that the NHL season was canceled, the 04-05 season, and sucks even more that Calgary was still high off of that magical run to the Stanley Cup Finals 2004 there. But then the other recent history of a championship not being awarded was the 1994 World Series, which is kind of strange that the player strike, happened, during the season play there. And you could say there's some conspiracies on Major League Baseball definitely was against the Montreal Expos because they were definitely the best team in baseball there, and I think hypothetically the Montreal Expos could have made a run to win the World Series. If that didn't happen in 1994, alternate universe, if we can get our DeLorean and go up to 88 and go back to 1994 and stop that strike from happening, who knows where we could be at now. But there's a lot of hypotheticals here, but this is definitely I say it's definitely my unscripted feelings about the situation right now with, not just Calgary sports, but all sports in general here. And there's definitely some hockey leagues out in Europe that are being postponed or paused. And I apparently heard that in China there was the basketball league in China there that they postponed play in January and plan to start playing again in April there. But you gotta wonder, what are the possibilities on how long this pause button is pressed on, the NBA, the NHL seasons there. Are we still going to have a full 82 game season or 80 games, and are we still going to have 4 full rounds of best of 7? Where still the Larry O'Brien Trophy and the Stanley Cup gets hoisted, because Major League Baseball is still committed to still have 162 games and maybe compress the games in the back end there. But what do you feel? It's definitely, tough. It's just, limits your activities. I'm playing it smart. That I'm definitely going to stay away of, other than doing necessary errands or going to work, unless employer says otherwise. And I can still work from home at least if I need to. But I definitely, for many reasons, I don't plan on traveling this year anyway. But hopefully there'll be some more sports to look forward to whenever this passes here. So I invite you to say, what do you think is going to happen? Are we still going to have full season just later? Would you be alright with the Stanley Cup, for example, not being awarded till middle of July? Because I know the NHL has said to keep buildings available till the end of July here. If they need to, have the draft the end of July and start free agent frenzy August 1st, and that would definitely make it even more of a frenzy, being hypothetical here if things were pushed back here. But let's just hopefully, maybe with this whole situation, that people are going to be more conscious about personal hygiene. But it just feels like an overreaction, knee-jerk reaction in one sense, but I can understand the other sense. You got to think about the health and safety of me as a fan, players, coaches, staff, everyone else that's in action there. Even if you isolated and have the players play in front of no fans, what's there to say a player is not sick? Or might have this sickness and not know about it, and then eventually feel crappy a week later, and then suddenly the whole team is sick. So sorry for all that doom and gloom here, but that seems to be the theme lately here. But so anyway, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, just make sure you like, subscribe to follow along there. I do intend to keep growing on this platform here, and I still do have content planned to still pump out, and I do have a few videos in backlog here, and it looks like this weekend's going to be a perfect weekend to do just that, so I can, steadily put out content instead of what I used to do, is I used to play, let's say, 5 videos on a weekend and post them all up at the same time here. I'm going to spread it out. But I do still plan to do some Calgary sports content, and, depending on how this goes, there might be some ideas that are in my head from comments or people on Twitter that might make those videos and inspire some ideas here. It's just a matter of, having the time to make it all, which I'm going to say that's a good problem to have when you still have your work responsibilities here. And who knows? This would be interesting if I was able to be in a position to do this full time here, but I still like this as a creative outlet to, express myself, show myself as a Calgary sports fan, and, recap games, and, I consume a lot of content on here, so I figure it's fitting for me to actually contribute to it, but this is definitely not a video that I per se like to make, given the circumstances. I'm just more worried about the effects of it in terms of economics and, the sports withdrawal. This winter actually haven't been as sick. I haven't had a bad cough. I do get myself the flu shot, and I do try to practice hygiene, and I've been more cognizant of it, especially, in the office and in general here. But maybe also the fact that I have been working on my figure and being a little healthier here. You could see some videos I've done, months ago, and I was definitely a bigger person then, and I've been working on my figure as well. So maybe all those factors is the reason why I have not been as sick, and God willing, hopefully I don't get hit by this and have to really, really self-isolate myself, but there'll still be videos, and that's why I have more than one main niche. I have one main niche, but that's why I have other videos that I make, so I have something to look forward to make and give to you guys. So I want to say thank you to all who have, follow me, subscribe, comment, follow me on my other social media links in the description below there. But hopefully pretty soon we could say go Flames go, and hopefully there'll be playoffs. Sea of Red, first round series against Calgary Edmonton. Oh, it's been 29 years. I somewhat feel how Bomber fans feel waiting that long, but it's just so close, and we would definitely feel damn good when sports comes back. Back my first sporting event since this pause button has been pressed. It'll just feel so damn good to be a sports fan again. It was personal lot 49 that I mentioned why I'm a Calgary sports fan, and I just feel it's my way to show pride for my city. That's who I am. I'm very prideful. I'm proud Calgarian, proud of my teams, and proud of players that come here to play for us fans, and I do really feel their appreciation when they perform, and it's just a gathering, and maybe we should put that on hold until this situation survives here. But I know I keep going on here, but I have mixed emotions on everything here, but definitely feeling a little down just how everything is right now, and just hopefully things don't turn for the worse here, and economically it's already been tough here the last few years, and we definitely can't afford even more of a downturn here, and it always seems like everything gets more expensive, but my pay doesn't increase, and you always get these news here, but let's just end it like that. I'll see you in the next video, and there's still gonna be content, and don't worry, it's not like I'm going away here, but as soon as sports comes back here, you know what to expect here. But I also have stuff planned to fill in the meantime here that I might be doing it a little earlier than anticipated there. So go Flames go, and see you in the next video.